and I'm going to go to the other one. Can you imagine all you want to do is go to church and all of a sudden you're there and at least 4 people were killed. This is the latest update I'm reading. And 8 others were wounded in a shooting at Church of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, police said. Authorities say gunmen rammed a vehicle through the front of the church during a large service, began shooting, and then intentionally set a fire that grew into a large blaze. Officers exchanged fire with gunmen and killed them, according to police. Investigators have identified the man as Thomas Jacob Sanford, a 40-year-old from the nearby city of Burton. The FBI is now leading the investigation into a deadly shooting and suspected arson at a Michigan church. Bureau is investigating the incident as an act of targeted violence, according to Reuben Coleman. Rob, if you want to play the clip.
This is from inside the church as the shooting took place yesterday.
We're not going to see anybody getting shot.
No.
Are you sure, Rob?
This is what was going on in the church?
This is the older one.
This is the older. Rob,
I think this is an older video.
I think that's
Rob.
last week,
Okay.
which is still bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
I don't think that's the same video.
Then this is the police chief yesterday talking about the shooting, and then I also have him talking about the shooter. Which would
Go
you
for
prefer?
it. Go shooting first.
Okay.
The call came out here today at 10:20. Said was happening at 10:25 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is located at 4285 McCandless Road. During this incident, what we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grand Blanc Township officer, where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralizing that suspect, and that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure.
Okay, so a few things I'm seeing here about the guy. 40 years old, former Marine from 04 to 08, served in Iraq in his tenure. He lived there in Burton, Michigan, which is near Grand Blanc. Drove the pickup truck. You're going through the whole thing that he just explained there. Casualties, we already talked about that. Act of targeted violence. The attack occurred one day after the death of LDS Church President Russell M. Nelson. I think he died at 101 years old. If I'm not mistaken, he was the 17th president, I think. Could be the 14th or the 17th president. Rob, if you can verify that, on which of the two he was. So, Vinny, what are your thoughts on this story?
Well, I mean, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're paying attention even a little bit, it's obvious what's happening, okay? Christians are under attack, and we are the most persecuted religion on the planet. This weekend, Tom, I was listening to the audio Bible, and I'm not even joking. Right when this was happening, Matthew, the verse of Matthew came up while he was saying, "Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, and theirs will be the kingdom of heaven." Okay, but we have so many stories. I'm not even going to get into the second part of it, but you know, in the last few weeks, there was a coach. This was kind of simple. He was praying with some of the players. He was shot at. He was actually shot. Minneapolis trans shooter opens fire inside of a church while children are praying. Okay, and now we have this. The guy apparently had IEDs driving into a church and started shooting. And I've said this before, and I apologize to everybody that thinks that I'm just repeating the same talking points. It's not flesh and blood. Everybody thinks we're fighting Antifa or China or Muslims. It's not that. We are literally fighting the devil, okay, and our enemy is Satan, okay, and we're seeing it manifest here. His power is being manifested here on earth, Tom, and it's undeniable at this point. Can you imagine, guys, could you imagine if every week, Adam, and this is for you guys too, a synagogue was getting bombed, and look at that footage, look at that. every week that was happening to synagogues or mosques or temples, a Hindu temple. What the hell? They'd be an outrage. But for some reason, when it comes to us, when it comes to Christians, nobody cares. This is gonna be talked about for one more day and then it's over. And it's pissing me off because we need to step the hell up.
Tom.
Everybody steps up for everybody else, Pat, but nobody steps up for us.
Well, we're incredibly, amen, Vinny. Amen to that.
It's ridiculous.
The Lord gave us Jesus Christ to save us from a broken world and did not promise that this world would be our utopia. But living in the foundation of Christ, you go to make a strong and positive impact on everyone, and you pray for your enemies. And we are a very angry nation right now, and there are things that are manifesting. And people say, well, it's not just Christians. No, it's not just Christians. But the amount of persecution globally is worse among Christians. The UN knows it. The UN even publishes it. Cato Institute publishes it. Sometimes it's inconvenient to talk about that if you have a narrative that you want to push one way or the other. But it's true. And you have this Church of Latter-day Saints, these people with their kids going to worship, mind their own business, and a guy with a truck comes through, and people say, well, it's all about gun control. He had these large apparent jerry cans with gasoline that set it on fire. So what prevents him from driving through and setting it on fire? Does everybody escape alive? Well, maybe, but you've still got, it's not about the weapon, it's about the people. It's about the people that are there. And Christians are the number one persecuted, but there's a lot of angry things. And I want to know this guy's background. I want to know how we could have noticed it, how we could have stopped it, how we could have stepped in. I want to know that.
Yeah, look at him, Tom. He's there. Look at his wife. He has a child.
Is that a Trump shirt? Zoom in.
Yeah, it looks like a Trump 2020 shirt.
Okay, so he was a supporter of Trump 2020 pens. So he had a sign of Trump and Pence outside of his house in his Sanford home. What? A 2019 social media photo post shows that Sanford wearing a Trump T-shirt, slogan "Make liberals cry again."
Unbelievable.
No verified records of on party registration of Republicans, so that's not been reported yet. Investigators have explicitly said that speculation about his motives or political leanings is just that speculation, and that they won't draw conclusions. But there's nothing that's. Is this him still, Rob, or is this someone else?
This is what the internet's saying is him.
Okay, can we read some of these things? Politically active, democratic socialist, progressive, and proud union member. So is that a post of his?
Well, that's his description on his ex. Thomas J.
Joined
Sanford.
July 2020. Is that the real name of the guy, though? Is it Thomas J. Sanford?
Yeah, are we sure this is the right
Because
account?
Thomas Jacob Sanford is his name.
Okay, go back to the other one. I don't see the picture on his face, so I don't know if that's going to be him. So keep going to the next one. Grandma shootings Iraqi killed, has a Stop Trump sign at his house. Stop Trump sign at his house. Okay, Stop Trump sign at his house.
Yeah.
So not a pro-Trump sign at his house.
No,
keep going. Okay. So there was a Trump-hating liberal. They tried to scrub his Facebook, but they weren't quite fast enough. So never support a president who IQ is 30 points lower than yours and failing. And he was talking about Trump. Okay. So then what is that other picture that people are posting? Okay. What is that one? The one right there with the Trump shirt on. Is that the same guy? Zoom in a little bit more on the shirt, Rob. See if you can.
Trump that posted.
Yes,
the
says
picture
liberals cry again. 2000. See, that doesn't add up. So wait, in 2020 he joined and he's saying he's a progressive
Democratic.
Yeah,
maybe
none of it
not
makes sense.
Maybe that's not a shirt
and I
honoring
love,
Trump.
Pat, I love.
Hang on, go back to there's something in here. Look at his. If this is the right account, there is a pinned tweet. Pat, take a look at this pinned tweet, Rob, because you go to that.
You just had it a minute ago.
Yeah, if this is correct, on 2021, a single $1,400 payment when the unemployment system owes me over 10 grand to show no remorse for cheating me. I'm underwhelmed. So he appears to be upset. If this is the correct account, we all got to be very careful with this. If the news media is publishing this as the correct account from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, okay. But it appears that there's some anger. He's wearing a Trump shirt that says 2020, and there sure appears to be some like anger at the system. You see that, Pat? Mm-hmm. Like I've been cheated or something's going on. Democrat, socialist, progressive, union member. So that there are.
He seemed to have donated to Blue numerous times. So he donated to Blue Political Action PAC $192. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Rob, what was the actual handle?
8.
Thomas
About
what?
12 times he donated to the Democratic Party, if that's the same person we're
Yeah,
talking
let me see
about.
his handle. I think it was like Thomas J, like the account that you had up there,
Thomas
Robbie.
J. Sanford 1. Thomas J. Sanford 1.
Thomas J.
Thomas J. Sanford 1. If that account is still up.
Let's see if they have it.
And
even
we
now.
say allegedly, but
It's
this
not the
is
same
what the
face.
But yeah,
police is indicating.
Well, it's not him
this
without
is
a
the
beard.
man.
Like it might be him, people without a beard, maybe.
No, it
but
doesn't
that's not
look
the same
nothing
guy.
like the guy.
Yeah, see, there we go. That's
doesn't
what we
look
do.
nothing
This guy
like the
works for
guy.
PTI Professional. Yeah, and he has a Ukraine flag.
No,
this
doesn't
isn't
look
the same
nothing
guy.
like the guy. So here's the part. We don't yet know
guy's
where
from
where
Wisconsin.
he's at. Okay, Sanford, Rob. You put a D in there. There wasn't a D. It's a San. You put Sanford.
Yeah, in fact,
Sanford.
Just to clarify, yeah, you're right. This guy's from Wisconsin.
That's not the same guy.
not the same guy.
No, it's not. So again, more details will come about this. There's another story talking about that. It could be a former member of the church that had a bad experience that was going after that. I don't know if the guy was LDS or not, but there's a lot of different stories that come up with this. Adam, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I can't believe I need to say this, but political violence or religious violence has no place in America. We just saw what happened with Charlie Kirk. We've seen multiple situations where places of worship, whether it's this LDS church in Michigan, whether there's the Catholic church in Minnesota, there's the synagogue in Pittsburgh, whether there's a Sikh temple, this seems to be a common theme here. It is incumbent on our cities, on our police forces to protect the most vulnerable. The places of worship and schools and social gatherings should be just that. They should not be crime scenes. And it's becoming all too common that it's crime scene at a church, crime scene at a school, crime scene at a public gathering. And at what point is say enough's enough? So churches, Rob, I sent you some data. America has becoming more secular and secular and secular over the last few decades. And there seems to be at least a pause in people becoming less religious, less Christian even. Here's a I don't know if you have this stat right here, but since the shooting of Charlie Kirk, more people have gone back to church. I think we need more of that in America today. The biggest challenge that churches have, whether it's churches, whether it's synagogues, whether it's mosques, we can keep that separate, is at one point you want to get people to come in, but how do you keep the bad people out? At this particular church, Latter-day Saints, I guess LDS is known for saying, visitors welcome. They want people to come in and experience church.
That's every church, though.
That's my point. But they want people to come in and experience this. But how do you keep people like this out?
That's such a heavy question that you have. It's not. You're not going to be able to do it because what do churches say? Anybody's welcome.
Mm-hmm.
The most broken people are welcome because they come in, they get on their knees, and they give their life to Christ, and you can be forgiven. That's the part that some other religions and denominations have a hard time with Christianity, where they say, we've had this conversation before. You mean to tell me I can go do X, Y, Z, and I can come and accept Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and if you truly believe it, and if it's coming from your heart, that's what makes this, as unique of a, faith that it is. When it becomes, you want those folks to come. But to me, this is, I want to know more. I can't stand hearing stories like this because the last place people need to be worried when they go to is the church. Mm-hmm. That's where you need to go and sit down, pray, go through whatever phases you're going through. I mean, listen, the weekend when the Charlie Kirk assassination happened, that was like the last weekend, folks. If you ran a church, that was not the weekend to be asking for money and to come out and say, hey, we have a $28 million building project.
Oh, man.
Some people did that, believe it or not. And that's like the wrong weekend to do it. But, it's tragic, it's devastating, it's annoying. By the way, I don't care who he supported. He needs to be held accountable. Somebody posted something on Twitter. I bet they'll never bring this up. You're talking to the wrong group. We're not those guys that are not going to bring it up and not cover it. Whether he was or he wasn't, for a man to do something like this, you have issues. But I want to know more. I want to know every single thing about this guy's records, what church he went to, what happened with his family.
Just weigh in. So I think churches need to, and schools for that matter, need to do a better job of playing defense. My point was you want people to come in, but at what point, at what price? This past week, it was the Jewish New Year, which is called Rosh Hashanah. And if you were going to go to Temple, there's no way that a shooter is getting in there, because a temple at this point has become a full-on SWAT-driven
Good.
security establishment.
Good.
Because the attacks on Jews that are happening. So my Christian friends need to take notice. You know, we talk about tolerance and don't take my kindness as weakness. They're coming after you. Whether that's a certain type of people, whether that are atheists, whether that are anarchists, and Jewish people, for that matter, have learned the hard way. And my hope and prayer is that churches realizes, wow, guys, in America, we have this sort of like toggling.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
You're right about that. I mean, this last fall conference, we spent 3 times as much last fall for security. I don't know how many metal detectors we had. 10
What do you
lines
mean?
of
I
metal
was late
detectors.
because I was running through
metal
a
detectors. It was taking long time to get people to come in, purely because of trying to get everybody to make sure that place was safe, so nobody had to be worried about. So yeah, but bigger budget of that has. You didn't have to worry about this 10 years ago,
No,
5 years ago.
no.
This was like the last thing on our minds, but
This is
you
all
have to
very
do
new.
it today.
And Pat, I have to be armed. Like you think I want to be armed at my church? I have to, because you know what? I'm taking the responsibility. If God forbid something happens, guess what? I'm running towards the
Well, let me
fire.
tell you, I was at a soccer tournament this weekend, and I was armed the entire time. You have to be. You have to be ready. And but thank God the way they set up the storm, there was cops everywhere.
Good.
I love the way they did it. There was cops everywhere. But you have to be. You know what they announced last week?
Pat, sorry.
Tom
No,
wanted
I
to say
said
something.
open.
Open
Yeah,
carry.
open carry. So, anyways,
Do you remember, Pat, we had a conversation a couple of years ago with Zubi, and it was a conversation of what's a better city,
Saudi,
Riyadh in
yeah.
Saudi Arabia or New York City?
Yep.
And I'm like, New York City, obviously, dude. And he's like, not so fast, buddy. Have you ever been to Saudi? And which prompted a conversation between the difference between America and certain other places in the world, between freedom and safety. In America, we value our freedom, right? Another great Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. That's what we value. But what's the price of freedom? You have stuff like this, where you have other cities where there's zero religious freedoms in a lot of the Middle Eastern countries, UAE or Saudi. There's no freedoms, but they're safe. You hear stories like you could leave your wallet out there, nobody's going to steal it. So there's this sort of like balance. It's like a seesaw between freedom and safety. I'd much rather have the freedom that we have in America,
but in
we
America,
need protection as well.
But everything is based on what you had to escape. So what we had to escape caused the way the founding fathers created America was to allow you to have guns, to say you shouldn't be afraid of us. We want you to also be able to protect yourself. That if the government ever wanted to become tyrannical and come after you, you're fully protected. It's not everybody has the same story of reasoning of how they start their countries, but America was that, and quite frankly, I don't mind it. I actually, support how this place was built. That's why we're here. This has been a record-breaking month in the history of the company with Manek. Massive. I've never gotten this many Maneks. Rob is talking about the amount of Maneks it's getting, but there's one massive announcement that we've been working on. The first...